start recording so I don't forget. And it is time to start. So welcome everyone to our coach talks. It's a great pleasure to have my Uncle Billy here, Willie Donachie, who's been a huge inspiration to me over the years, not just with football, but with his practice and mindfulness meditation and everything else. So I'm going to be running the slides for my uncle, so just tell me when to pass on. So I'll hand over, I'll shut up now and pass you on to Willie Donachie.
Hi everybody, thanks for having me. It's funny, I was just speaking with Tracy and I realised I was quite nervous, and listening to everybody before, it came to mind, when the mind is still, there's no stress. So when I'm nervous, it's because I'm thinking, oh, I hope this goes well, or I hope I don't sound stupid or something. And when you can let that go and just be still, then there's not a problem. There's no problems when the mind is still. It's just that all the problems are in the mind. So anyway, I wanted to start with an exercise I've been practicing for about 50 years. So you have to sit up straight with the spine straight, but no tension. Let the body relax. Just let the face relax, the shoulders. No tension anywhere. Then feel your feet on the floor. So you're connected, you're grounded. And just be aware of the space everywhere. Behind, above, to the side, space everywhere. Space outside the rooms, really wide, open. And just be still. And then become aware of the breath. And just be aware, just be with the breath. You don't need to do anything. You can't make the breath happen. You can't stop the breath. Just be aware of the breath for 1 minute. Okay, thank you. When I do that exercise with people who aren't used to it, their breathing becomes really fast because they're not used to it, they're nervous. Once you become used to it, the breath almost stops, it really slows down, and everything just becomes still. And you become aware of a deeper stillness, aware of a deeper stillness. Okay, Tracy, can we have the first? Right. So these are levels of awareness. The bottom one is obvious, deep sleep, where you have a really good sleep and you get up and you really feel really rested. The next one's a dreaming sleep, where obviously you're asleep, but the mind is still a bit active and you're dreaming about something. And you can actually wake up a bit tired after that sort of sleep. The waking sleep is when my normal day is when I'm sort of working on autopilot. And I'm doing two or three things at the same time. So I'm not giving real attention to anything. I'm just sort of dreaming my way, sleeping through the day. For example, the other night I found myself, I was watching TV, eating something and listening to my wife. So obviously I couldn't do any of them really well because my attentions were scattered all over the place. So I'm not fully awake. Fully awake, the next one is when you're giving full attention to someone or something. So an example would be my son. was interested in this girl who was beautiful. He thought she's way out of his league. So I said to him, look, next time you see her, just really listen to her, give her your full attention, because that was described to me as the real description of love is to give full attention. So anyway, he tried that, and within a few weeks, he was living with a girl. So it seemed to work. And I think it's seldom we really give full attention to something or somebody without all the chatter in the mind in the background. And then above that is the higher consciousness, where people get glimpses of it. Sometimes when you're in a really stressful situation, the mind becomes completely still. You see what's needed to be done, and it just gets done without you even trying. It just happens. You hear of people lifting a car to get somebody out from underneath it, things like that. There's a higher power, a consciousness that we all have, but we don't sort of become aware of very often. So most of my life is from wake and sleep down. But when I practice meditation or stillness, you can get more used to being fully awake. And that's where I find it's really helpful in my life. Next one, right. So the way to give full attention is to be really present in the present moment. So this shows when, like I was saying at the very beginning, when we're dozy or agitated, we're usually thinking about the past or the future. When we're just in the present moment, we give full attention. And I know you've probably heard a lot about this, but it does worry me about the future generations, because there's so much going on with phones and videos and computers, all sorts. Their brains are all over the place. They're never still. They never have a rest, never have a mental rest. And that only happens in the present moment, when you're just fully here now, not thinking about something that might happen, not thinking about something that's happened already. And the exercise we did at the start tries to get us into the present moment, so that, for example, I was coaching in the Premier League, and we're playing in a game, and we're really struggling, and my head was all over the place. What do I do? What can I do to change this? How can we get better? So I went up into the stand, and as I sat down, I said to myself, just be still. And almost immediately, because the mind was still, I knew what was needed. So I ran back down to the touchline, made the change, and it was just helpful. It was just down to the observation of being in the moment and being present. The answer is always there. But if you're looking for something that in the future or something that's gone before, you can't see what's actually there. So we still lost the game, but we did much better. Well, what's next, Tracy? Okay, why should you concentrate? Well, obviously, it focuses you. And so what I was taught to do when I was pretty young was connect with the senses. So when we're listening to somebody, just listen. When we're tasting food, just taste the food. So there's a famous doctor in America who he says how we should eat is take a mouthful of food, taste it, wait till it's in the stomach, and then take the next mouthful. personally, as I said before, I can be watching TV, stuffing it down my face and not even thinking about it. You don't actually taste it. So you're not focused. Feel your feet on the ground, be grounded. And yeah, it allows you to pay full attention and allows you to see what's needed in the present. Is there something else, Tracy? Yeah. So that's what I've been talking about. So if I'm watching TV, my attention's captured, I'm just lost in the program, whatever it is. And I'm just basically in the wake and sleep place where I'm lost, no use to anybody, just lost in the TV. The other one's the scattered attention. So we all know this. When your head's all over the place, it tires you out. I've got time for an example, Tracy. So when I was a young player, when I was traveling to an away game, if I had to leave in the morning and the game was at 3 o'clock, by the time the game started, I was shattered because I was going over and over and over in my head what the game is going to be like. As you all know, even mental activity can be tiring. So when I got there, I was exhausted. So I learned to try and rest, just try and sleep before the game to try and rest the mind. Then was a little bit older, I made a mistake in a game and the coach said to me, "Where were you?" In that instant. He was a really good coach. And I realized I didn't know where I was. I'd been sleeping. So that made me, I thought, how can I help my concentration? So I started reading books. Never read at school, wasn't academic. So I started reading and it helped with concentration a bit, but that led me to trying to find out more about myself and the meditation and knowing who you truly are, really. So that's about the centre. We've done that one, Tracy. Yeah, so the higher consciousness can happen when you're completely in the moment and you're just sort of observing what's happening. So like in football, when you score a goal, it just happens. It's like the flow situation you all know about. You're giving full attention, you're just completely there. And it's as if you're watching and it just happens. What then happens though is we claim the action. It's like, oh yeah, I did really well there, great goal for me. And then you're out of the present moment again. You're lost in your thoughts. But when the thoughts are gone and you're just completely focused, you can reach that zone, the flow. We all talk about the flow place, and the mind has to be still to get there. Okay, Tracy, anything else? Do you want to take some questions, Tracy?
Yeah, brilliant. I'll stop that sharing. Thank you very much, Uncle Billy. It was super insightful, and I love hearing your stories, especially about the time that you scored a goal. Do you want to tell us about the time that you scored that goal? Was it for? I can't remember who it was for.
Well,
I think that's a good example.
Well, it's just effortless. Everybody knows any sport you play, when it works, it's just like you don't try too hard. You're not sloppy. You're just giving full attention and you're just there, simply there. And it's just happens effortlessly.
Yeah.
It's the same when we're doing anything. When you're really listening to somebody, you've not got all the buzzing going on in the head. You're just simply being there. And what's needed is there in the moment.
And I guess that's so crucial for like working relationships with players, that you have that connection because you're able to be focused and listen and hear them. And
Yeah,
that
it
can
came,
then make a good coach.
yeah, and it came to mind earlier. When all you psychologists, sports psychologists, when you're working with players, it's the attention that's needed. That's the love. And when a player and anything knows that somebody cares about you, that's the difference. We all know about teachers when we're young. It's the ones who give the attention and really care that we always remember. It's the same as a coach, sports psychologist.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll open up the floor to questions. Anyone got a question they'd like to ask?
Sounds good.
Not paying attention.
Well, I'm no lecturer or anything, but I hope it's been useful for somebody.
Been very useful. Any questions? I guess my question on for people is, when you're coaching or working with somebody, it's so easy to, be in your head because you're thinking about what's the next question, how am I going to shape this conversation? I'm just wondering if you've got any tips on how to, I guess, manage that.
Back to the very first exercise, feel your feet in the ground, be grounded, be still. The other big thing is it's for the other person, it's for the team, it's not for you. And when it's like that, you do the right thing, you do what's needed rather than what you want. And somebody asked me if I'd ever given the players a rollicking. And I thought about it and I said, oh, well, actually twice. And he's a good friend, and he said, was it for you or was it for them? And one time it was for me. I was just angry, and after it I felt terrible. The other time it was just clean, smooth, finished, done, forgotten about, because it was just the right thing.
Yeah. Got a question from Hugh in the chat. So do you use meditation a lot in your daily life to exclude the modern noise of life?
Absolutely. Can't get enough. The exercise we did at the beginning, I first started about 50 years ago, and then I started meditation with a mantra over 40 years ago. And I do it twice a day, half an hour in the morning, half an hour at night, every day. And it's invaluable. I recommend it to everybody, especially in modern society. It's so busy, busy, busy. Well, I've got a quotation. Can I read it?
Of course, yeah. I'll get 2 minutes.
It's from a very wise man. He's talking about meditation. The well which gives water for irrigation must be left alone without any withdrawal during the night, so that it can recover a fresh supply of water for the next day. If one simply goes on drawing from the well will become dry and nothing can be done about it. By going into meditation, one recharges oneself with finer energy and comes out with extra energy imbued with consciousness and bliss. So that's what it does. All meditation does. When I first started, everybody thought I was a weirdo, and I didn't tell many people. But all it does really is still the mind. Get rid of all that stuff, all that rubbish that we think about all the time. Well, I do anyway. It's not helpful. Things you want to do because in your plans, because nothing works out how you expect, does it? And that's the beauty of life. If you knew what was going to happen, why do it? But we always worry about what's going to happen, what will happen next year, what's my 5-year plan. It's like just be here now fully and forget about the past as well. And everybody worries, but it's a complete waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Uncle Billy. That was really, really enjoyable. And yeah, any questions you can forward them on. So now we're in time for lunch. So hopefully in the back of this talk we can be present, enjoy our lunch, and
Taste it.
taste it. I'm going to take you up, bring you all back into the main room, because there will be an opportunity to go back into rooms if you want to chat to people, network, but equally you can, turn off your video and go off and have your lunch. So I'll just I'll leave the room. We can all leave the room and go into the main room, and then we'll reconvene in there before we head off for lunch, if that's okay. So you just press leave the room. We'll be back.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Uncle Billy.
Hello.
Hello.